Good evening and welcome to the evening news for today, Wednesday, July 12, 2023. I am Jemima Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Now let's take a look at some of the lead stories tonight. Guyana's nominal GDP grows from 1.1 trillion in 2020 to 3.1 trillion in 2022. Spanish to become compulsory in schools from September, says President Ali. Ghana considering seeking taxation agreement with Guyana. Members of MAHDIA fire COI to be sworn in by weekend. Guyanese under probe for allegedly laundering US $16.4 million in gold in Brazil. And DNA tests confirm skeletal remains found at Madewini are those of missing policemen. Now for the news in detail. In light of the creation of a Guyana Chamber of Commerce and in light of the interest of Ghanaian companies in investing here, the head of Ghana's Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fabile Jr., says a taxation agreement between the two countries will be considered. Here is Gerald Bryan with our lead story this evening.
On Wednesday, a roundtable discussion was facilitated between Guyanese and Ghanaian oil officials and the private sector. During the discussions, a question was asked whether a tax treaty was being considered to ensure Ghanaian and Guyanese businesses are not double taxed when investing in their respective countries. It is a question that the CEO of Ghana's Petroleum Commission, Egbert Fabile Jr., considers important. He committed to raising the matter at the highest levels of the Ghanaian government.
I think that is a very important question. Taxation, as we all know, very important in business and in international business. Fortunately for both countries, we signed a technical cooperation agreement. And I know that there is a desk ad hoc of the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana that's keeping an eye on my engagements with Ghana. I will escalate this, suggestion to that desk and see to it that immediately something like this is done, because it makes a lot of sense to at least begin talking about, a double taxation arrangement.
Fabile was also hopeful that a joint agreement that would include taxation could be signed between the two countries.
Now, what does this portend for indigenous Ghanaian businesses? If you're already working in Ghana for tallow, under a strategic alliance arrangement, you can easily be taken from Ghana by tallow to go and partner with an indigenous company or a JV in Guyana to do similar work you are doing in Ghana for tallow in Guyana. And so this double taxation arrangement really makes a lot of sense. And I think that it's a question in the right direction. Fortunately, Bobby also works with the ministry in the Ministry of Natural Resources in Guyana. And we are in contact every now and then. So I'm sure at our level, we can also take it up so that we can do possibly a joint paper for the attention of both governments.
Just a few months ago, the first Ghanaian Chamber of Commerce was commissioned in Guyana. And in 2019, Guyana and Ghana had signed a 2-year memorandum of understanding for trading relations and information sharing between the two states. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
Let's now tell you that President Dr. Irfan Ali has announced that Guyana's economy has almost tripled since the end of 2020, with the nominal gross domestic product moving from 1.1 trillion in 2020 to 3.1 trillion at the end of 2022. This shows that Guyana continues to outperform its neighbors in the region, a development which the head of state attributes not only to the oil and gas industry, but also to prudent fiscal management. Here's what he had to say.
In the Caribbean, tourism-dependent countries, inflation levels rose to an estimated 7.9% in 2022, up from 5.4% in 2021, and is projected at 4.3% this year. The commodity exports of the Caribbean experienced inflation level rising to an estimated 13% in 2022, up from 11% in 2021, and is projected to remain elevated at 7.6% this year. Guyana economy has almost tripled since the end of 2020, with our nominal GDP moving from 1.1 trillion in 2020 to 3.1 trillion at the end of 2022. Of course, this is largely owing to the startup of oil production at the Liza Unity FPSO. Guyana is now the fastest growing economy in the world. For the period 2023 to 2026, Guyana is projected to grow at an average 25% annually. Guyana non-oil growth is now projected at 7.9% this year, building on the 11.5% growth recorded last year. Despite challenges, Guyana managed to grow its economy and put measures in place to reduce the burden of elevated prices on citizens, while at the same time prudently managing financial resources. At the end of 2022, Guyana debt to GDP ratio stood at 24.6%, down from 38.9% a year prior, demonstrating government's commitment to prudent fiscal management of the country's resources.
Recognizing the developmental trajectory of Guyana and ensuring citizens are not left behind, President Dr. Irfan Ali has announced that from the new school term, Spanish will be a mandatory subject from as early as primary school. Davina Samaru has the details.
Commencing from September, Spanish will now become compulsory in our school system.
President Dr. Irfan Ali, during the announcement at a press conference on Wednesday, he explained that there is enough local capacity to get this initiative started, assuring that over time, capacity will be increased.
I have been told that we have adequate capability, especially at the secondary level, to have this compulsory Spanish taught. We have also engaged a number of bilateral partners to loan us human resource assets in this period of transition. Technology also gives us an opportunity to build an online platform through the learning channel that we can deliver this training also. So I think that we have enough capacity, and we're going to build the capacity, I think, by September to have this introduced, at least from to start from grade 4 or 5.
Meanwhile, the president noted that he will also mandate cabinet members to learn the language. With Guyana being surrounded by Spanish-speaking countries and with the influx of Spanish-speaking persons currently operating in the economy, the head of state emphasized the importance of Guyanese learning the language.
One of my greatest regrets, now that I'm in this, have this responsibility for Guyana, is that I dropped Spanish in secondary school. And being in a continent in South America where we celebrate we're the only English-speaking country, we have to realize too that we're part of this continent that speaks Spanish. And I believe we're going to do the future young people of our country an injustice if we don't point them into this direction. Because if you want to be competitive internationally, you have to have this second language. If you want to land yourself international jobs, if we want to say that we're developing the highly skilled human resource base, then this becomes necessary. If you go on Regent Street today, you will see that in many stores they actually have someone who speaks Spanish employed. So it will come upon us if we don't get ahead of the curve and get it done.
President Ali is also encouraging the private sector to make the necessary investments to ensure their employees learn Spanish. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
Once again, here's Davina Samaru, this time to report that almost 2 months after the MAHDIA dorm fire that resulted in the death of 20 persons, the government is one step closer to setting up a commission of inquiry to investigate the circumstances, with President Dr. Irfan Ali aiming to have all members sworn in by this weekend.
While it has been revealed that Major General retired Joseph Singh will lead the Commission of Inquiry into the MAHDIA dormitory fire, the names of other members are not yet known. According to President Dr. Irfan Ali, he is still in consultation with those potential persons and is hoping to fully constitute the COI by this weekend.
I'm in consultation with a number of potential candidates. I have not confirmed their acceptance at this time, so I cannot dare speak on their behalf. But I'm hoping that before the end of this week that we can have the full complement constituted.
The May 21 inferno killed 19 female students between the ages of 12 and 17 and a 5-year-old boy who was the son of the dorm parents. The fire was allegedly started by a 15-year-old student who also lived at the dorm after her cellular phone was taken away by the facility's mother and the teacher. The teen suspect has since been slapped with 20 murder charges and is currently on remand in a juvenile holding facility. According to the surviving female students, they were asleep but were awakened by screams. Upon checking, they saw fire and smoke in the bathroom area, which quickly spread across the building, causing several students to receive burns to their bodies and suffer smoke inhalation, while several managed to escape. The facility housed about 59 students from the communities of Carasparu, El Paso, Mycobi, and Chanapao. Meanwhile, apart from the COI, President Ali had announced that the victims' families would be compensated by the state and offered short, medium, and long-term support. Reporting for the Evening News, Davina Samaru.
The Guyana Police Force on Wednesday stated that the DNA tests performed on the skeletal remains found at Madewini back in April are actually those of missing police constable Quincy Lewis. On April 19, 2023, a team of forensic investigators from the Criminal Investigations Department headquarters was dispatched to an abandoned sandpit along the Suzdijk-Linden Highway, where skeletal human remains believed to be those of Lewis were recovered. However, due to the advanced state of the remains, the process of positive identification was not possible without DNA testing. As such, samples were obtained from the close relatives of the deceased and were thereafter sent overseas for testing. On completion of the testing process, the results confirmed the remains to be those of Constable Quincy Lewis. Coming up, Guyanese under probe for allegedly laundering US $16.4 million in gold in Brazil, and Kaburi smash-up leaves security officer dead, teen critical. Do stay with us. More news ahead.
Turbo energy drink rolling out the Turbo Hot Summer Wheels promotion. Win a brand new 2023 Honda HR-V plus over $3 million in weekly cash and prizes. Just grab any bottle of Turbo energy drink, Buster or Classic, and locate the 8-digit code on the bottle. Then visit Turbo IG and Facebook at Turbo_Caribbean for more details. Conditions apply.
Hare Krishna, ISKCON of Guyana Hare Krishna Study Center presents Rath Yatra 2023. Join us for 4 days of grand celebration starting from July 13th to July 16, 2023. We'll have lots of family activities, ecstatic kirtan, sumptuous prasadam, enlightening spiritual discourses, and fun dramas. Join us for this spiritual festival and experience the joy of devotion. For more information, contact us on WhatsApp on 646-3101 or 641-3882. See you there. Hare Krishna.
Knock off. The Oreos belong to us.
No, they belong to whoever finds them first.
Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
Credit! Yeah, ready? We are so far. Look along, me tell you, buy one generator. Now the picnic online test and blackout come and cut off everything. Sorry, son. Radhika, Abby go tomorrow. Abby go now.
At Sylvie's, we stock products from more than 22 different sectors in mining, construction, food processing, vulcanizing, home improvements, and more.
Are you getting generator?
So this is a 3000 better side generator. This will work your lights, your fan, your TV, and your fridge.
Well, Abby can buy one for Abby and Abby can buy one for Mommy too.
Yeah, and Mommy can even key start it, because all you have to do is hook up the battery and
visit us today at 31 High in Hatfield Street, where our friendly and knowledgeable team members are willing to assist you. You can also call us on 227-6243 or WhatsApp us on 623-7755 and shop via our website at www.sylviesonline.com.
Abby go buy one Dalpuri mill,
one plucking machine, one pressure washing machine, one juice dispenser, one engine, one pepper grinding machine, one water pump, one sugar cane juicer, circle sir. We gotta get alright then, food warmer. We gotta get. What are you looking at?
want real energy, just say and if you got and two. Good source of iron for me and for you, make you feel like say you have energy for two. When you make a mad flex with you and your crew work late or left the gym after two. Vigatan got the remedy for some man for sue. So say and if you got and two. Vigatan. From your new energy you are defend. Just say and if you got and then strong up your body, drink and come again. Vigatan 2 are the remedy, my friend.
Vigatan 2, good source of vitamin and iron for you.
Welcome back. You're watching the Evening News. As consultations on the Local Content Act continue, the government is making it clear that the intention is not only to add new areas where foreign companies must provide opportunities to locals, but also to target how much local goods and services must be used. Gerald Bryan reports.
This was according to Senior Petroleum Coordinator in the Natural Resources Ministry, Bobby Gosai. According to Gosai, while participating in a webinar bringing together Guyanese and Ghanaian stakeholders, the intended changes to the Local Content Act are manifold. On one hand, the industries oil companies must give precedence to locals for will be increased as their capacity has grown since the Local Content Act was first passed. But on the other hand, the targets that oil companies must reach under the Act to be compliant will also be updated.
The Attorney General had indicated yes, and of course this statement was made public by both the Minister of Natural Resources as well as the President and the Vice President, that the law will be adjusted to include other areas, new opportunities, new areas that we've seen that have grown over the years. And by the end of 2022, it would reach a stage where these goods and services can be provided in country. And we will, of course, not only add new areas to the first schedule, but also amend the targets that we would have set originally back in 2022.
Gosai further explained the lessons learned since the implementation of the Act. For instance, some targets were exceeded while others need more work.
There were some challenges to that theory as well. There were some areas in which we more than excel in reaching our target requirements. And there were some areas which we did not reach our target requirement in the sense that we were close to it or we were not too close to it. And, we tried to ensure that while we were measuring from the reports that were provided, that we determine exactly if we had excelled something or there was an area of business services or business physical products that we did not take into account, but those can be provided for within the new opportunities that may come beyond the amendment that we will put in place.
The Local Content Act lays out 40 different services that oil and gas companies and their subcontractors must procure from Guyanese companies. An example of one of the targets is a requirement that foreign companies must procure 75% of their food from local suppliers. Gerald Bryan, The Evening News.
Brazilian federal authorities are investigating a Guyanese businessman suspected of laundering over 80 million reals or US 16.4 million worth of illegally mined gold through several companies operating in the foodstuff and medical supply industry. Here are the details from Luana McAllister.
According to an article published by the Ministry of Justice and Public Security, the investigation, known as Operation Vangloria, focuses on individuals believed to have facilitated the movement of illegal sourced gold from neighboring Guyana into Brazil. The probe was initiated after authorities discovered the involvement of an alleged Guyanese businessman who has ties to the gold mining industry in Guyana and conducts business in Brazil under suspicious circumstances. As such, the association linked the businessman to a Manaus-based company registered as a foodstuff provider, but upon investigation, it was revealed that the listed address was allegedly a vehicle shop operating under a different registration. Federal police agents suspect that the Guyanese businessman has a Brazilian partner who aided in the movement of funds through the companies. One of these entities purportedly involved in the trade of hospital supplies has allegedly laundered over 60 million real dollars worth of gold through its operations, despite having no physical presence at its registered address. Brazil, due to its size and numerous bordering countries, has become a hotspot for gold smuggling activities. With nearly 200 ports along the Atlantic Ocean, the country serves as an ideal starting point for criminal organizations seeking to smuggle gold out of South America and into lucrative markets like the United States, Asia, and the Middle East. It is estimated that around 30 tons of gold valued approximately $1.86 billion is illegally extracted from Brazil each year. As part of Operation Vangloria, Brazilian authorities said they have executed 3 search and seizure warrants in their efforts to locate the gold. Lawanda McAllister, The Evening News.
A security officer is now dead while a teenager is in critical condition following a collision between their motorcycles on Tuesday along the number 72 miles Kaburi Trail, Region 7. The dead man has been identified as 53-year-old Leroy Richards, while the injured 18-year-old is Marik Hendricks. Both men are from Kaburi Village. Based on reports received, Richards and the teenager were traveling along the trail in opposite directions when the young man reportedly lost control of the unregistered motorcycle he was driving, and it collided head-on with the one Richards was driving. Both motorcyclists sustained injuries to their heads and bodies as a result of the collision and were picked up by public-spirited persons in an unconscious condition and taken to the Bartica Regional Hospital, where Richards was pronounced dead. The teenager was treated for a fractured skull and then referred to the Georgetown Public Hospital, where he has been admitted in the male surgical ward. His condition is regarded as serious. The police are continuing their investigations. In yet another initiative to expand and enhance the country's poultry industry, the government has committed $50 million towards establishing a breeder program so hatching eggs can be produced in Guyana. Pooja Rambaran reports.
We have a private farmer who have already started that project. In this year's budget in the Ministry of Agriculture, we have $50 million that have been budgeted to start the breeder program so that we can produce our own hatching eggs, so that we can bring down the cost of hatching eggs. Rather than importing it into the country, we can produce it right here in Guyana.
Agriculture Minister Zulfikar Mustafa during a poultry symposium on Friday. Guyana currently imports about 52 million eggs each year at the cost of some $350 million. This initiative aims to ensure that hatching eggs are produced sustainably, both locally and eventually for the export market. The minister remarked that this breeder program is one of several government-led plans to position Guyana as a net exporter of poultry.
The government has been providing incentive in priority areas of agro-processing, coconut, corn and soybeans, beef, and more importantly, poultry production.
This is in keeping with Guyana's goal to reduce the Caribbean Community, CARICOM's, food import bill by 25% by 2025. Meanwhile, during Friday's symposium, the Minister and President Dr. Irfan Ali highlighted a number of other plans to advance the country's poultry sector and position it as one of the strongest in the region. These included providing loans for small farmers to aid their production, covering the cost of required vaccines, considering the implementation of a zoning system to better manage poultry, and producing corn and soya for feed production. Pooja Rambaran for the Evening News.
As Guyana continues to welcome international travelers seeking captivating tourism experiences, the GTA in its half-year report has said it recorded an increase of visitors by 18% when compared to the same period last year. Tasia Dickinson has the details.
From January to May 2023, a total of 124,973 visitors were proceeded through the Chedi Jagan International Airport, Eugene F. Correa International Airport, the Lethem ports of entry, and the Molson Creek Ferry Terminal. However, the GTA has projected that visitor arrivals for January to December 2023 to be 335,873. According to statistical projections by the Guyana Tourism Authority, The resumption of flights to Guyana through British Airways will bring approximately 33,488 more travelers annually to the country, automatically increasing the country's visitor arrival figures. Additionally, as the country's tourism potential continues to accrue commendable international media coverage, Trailfinders, one of the largest travel agents in the United Kingdom, has already started promoting 5 holiday experiences in Guyana. Journey Latin America has also launched a new trip to Guyana. Further, recognitions include features in prominent international media publications including Forbes, The Times, Telegraph, Daily Mail, and Worldly Adventurer. Meanwhile, in March, Minister within the Public Works Ministry Deodat Indar shared that the government aims for 1 million passenger arrivals by 2025. Tasia Dickinson, The Evening News.
Rickford Rogers and Micah Smith, both of Best Village, West Coast Demerara, were taken into custody following the discovery of over 12 pounds of cannabis at Quartzone Landing, Cuyuni River in Region 7. The 2 men were passengers on a boat that was also transporting fuel to the said landing. As the boat arrived at its destination, police requested to conduct a search on the passengers, but nothing illegal was found on their person. However, the ranks noticed a sealed cardboard box in the boat, which the boat's captain indicated belonged to Rogers and Smith. When questioned by the ranks, both Smith and Rogers accepted ownership of the box. A search of the box revealed 11 large plastic wrap parcels which contained the ganja. The 2 men were arrested and taken to the Bartica police station, where the cannabis was weighed and amounted to 12.2 pounds. The suspects are in custody pending charges. And now for a look at the bridge reports.
The Demerara Harbour Bridge will be closed to vehicular traffic on Thursday, July 13, 2023 at 1 hour for a period of 1.5 hours. Meanwhile, the Berbish River Bridge is scheduled to be closed on Thursday, July 13, 2023 at 13 hours 35 for a period of 1.5 hours.
Harris Ayub is set to play for GAW in CPL 2023, and West Indies crumble on opening day of first test against India. Details of these stories and more in this podcast, sponsored by MacCorp, coming up on the other side of the break.
Play virtual blackjack for an exclusive gaming experience. Do you have what it takes to beat the dealer? Visit www.superbet.gy and check out all the different bet types. Must be 18 years and older. Terms and conditions apply. Play responsibly. Superbet, your best bet.
Turbo energy drink rolling out the Turbo Hot Summer Wheels promotion. Win a brand new 2023 Honda HR-V plus over $3 million in weekly cash and prizes. Just grab any bottle of Turbo energy drink, Buster or Classic, and locate the 8-digit code on the bottle. Then visit Turbo IG and Facebook at Turbo_Caribbean for more details. Conditions apply.
Knock off. The Oreos belong to us.
No, they belong to whoever finds them first. Get your Oreo Transformers Limited Edition and awaken the beast.
Looking to bring your dream home to reality? Or simply taking on a home improvement project? Then National Hardware Limited is where you should start. Let us put that touch to your home. Choose from over 1,000 Berger Paint original hues for any surface. We are known for our trusted brands such as Westinghouse, Philips, Sadco, Rubbermaid, Pyrex, Gibson Home, and so much more. National Hardware Limited, your do-it-best store. Located in downtown Georgetown and industrial site Rhymeville.